Hello, folks. It is Thursday the 25th. I'm up later than usual. I got up at 9 today. I'm usually up around 7:38. Cheers. Partly what I was doing was trying to sleep until my ears were quieter. This is one of those raging days where it's like, whoa, this is ridiculous. So my condolences to folks who have it all the time. I do get a break. Today is one of the worst. You know, it's like the beginning. Then it'll be like days as it, and then that's not necessarily true. Anyway, it's too early to call my brother just yet. I'll be calling him. There's a bit of trepidation. I don't stay in touch with him because he's fallen on hard times, and it's sometimes it's hard to talk to him. But in a couple of hours, it's still only 7 in the morning out on the west coast. I'll call him. Cheers, folks. Another thing that kind of disappointed me this morning was I got a call from James yesterday. I almost expected it. Nothing personal, totally professional, but I had to reschedule my studio date today because he got a last minute reminder, or for him it's a reminder because James is very busy, but he has a gig, but it's a traveling gig. And so today would have been a rush job, and I don't want a rush job. I want the studio for several hours so I can practice before I record. So anyway, half expected it because James is like that, just busy and then can be a little scattered. So, tentatively we rescheduled it for a week from today. Tomorrow is supposed to happen though with Aaron and Otis 12. So hopefully that happens. Yes, folks, I tend to see the music news before you report it to me. Not always, but yesterday I found out through Richard Barbieri, of all people, about the death of Danny Thompson. Richard Barbieri is in my friend's feed on Feedbook. And Feedbook. He is the first person I saw post, and he hardly ever posts. Matter of fact, he doesn't post on Facebook. You don't see him on there. And then this morning I saw, first post I saw yesterday morning was from Richard about Danny Thompson passing away at 86. Wonderful bass player, and he definitely gets a mention from me. First, I want to explain that even though I'm known as a bass player, bass is not my favorite instrument, and it is not my focus on listening to music. Some people assume wrongly that bass is my focal point. No, it's all of the instruments. And the instrument I enjoy playing the most is the drums. I stopped playing the drums for a number of reasons, but all of the instruments appeal to me. And regarding rock music, the first thing I wanted to play was guitar, which I got a nylon string, and then, like many people have said, nobody wants to be the bass player in a group, so I end up on the bass, but preferably so because I knew that I could make the bass sound the way I want the bass to sound in group in the music. So there you go. No, I talked to David Nance yesterday, but I didn't go to the show. When the evening comes, it's real easy to stay at home. It just is. But I started to grab records that I have that Danny Thompson plays on. Then after a while, I stopped because it's like he's played on so many. It's like, okay, let's not go ridiculous. But I pulled some to show. Many of these I haven't listened to in a while. For example, Danny Thompson is on this, produced by Tony Visconti. T-Rex. What's the name of this one? Zinc Alloy. And the Hidden Riders of Tomorrow. Danny Thompson plays on this. I'll start here. I pulled some records and I stopped because it's like, okay, I've got a lot of records that he's on. So I just stopped here. Barabajaggle, Donovan. This starts off with Jeff Beck on guitar. And what's cool about Danny Thompson's playing is that I do notice him, have been noticing him for a long time, is his tone and his approach. It doesn't take but a few songs on here before you hear that it's Danny Thompson on bass. He has a tone. I don't know if he's always used the same bass for all of these sessions. That's possible. But one thing is for sure, he has a definite, distinct, beautiful, big, woody tone on the double acoustic bass that he plays. And I listened to part of this last night, and always have liked Donovan, the original hippie. Original hippie. Danny Thompson was versatile, and he brought his playing. Okay, I do have some superlatives. Ensemble playing is the best when everyone devotes themselves to the music and their parts make the whole greater. Danny Thompson is one of those type of players. He is as broad of a scope that he plays in. It sounds like he's always able to enter the music, not just play the notes. He plays his part like he understands what the music is supposed to be doing. And in some cases, maybe as a result of his playing, he has directed music to a higher, better level. I'm going to turn my browser off. Excuse me. So, Danny Thompson, Kate Bush, Hounds of Love. Kate Bush, The Dreaming, Danny Thompson on bass. Both these albums are great. Love them both. Here's one where I haven't listened to it much, haven't had it that long, but I love it. It's wonderful. This guy was just one of the greats. Bert Jansch, L.A. Turnaround, on my favorite label, Charisma. It's a good album. Danny Thompson on bass here with lots of other really good people. Interesting that, not interesting, it's just me talking. But as much as I don't listen to the music primarily for the words, I love good stuff like this, and I do listen to the words. But it's the whole picture that I remember. I forget lyrics real fast. I do, and oftentimes just don't pay any attention to them. He's on this Magna Carta album, Lord of the Ages. Yes, plays string bass on here. This is a good band, good folk band. My copy is beat to shit. The record plays okay, but John Martin, Inside Out. Still need a copy of Air. Danny Thompson. Also, I've watched a while back. It's probably been a year or two that I watched a couple of podcasts where he was interviewed on camera. Really funny guy. He was very funny. Real down to earth. I can see where folks wanted to play with him and have him in their company. Another old album that he plays on to great effect. C.O.B. Clive's old band. Moishy McStiff and the Tartan Lancers of the Sacred Heart. I'll tell you folks, I've showed these records before, but I love this iteration, and I'll call it that, of English folk rock. A lot of these records, they just kind of take me away. It's not like, no, it is in a way. It is in a way like reading a book, where the book takes you to a different place in your mind, in your imagination. And I have to credit the Beatles with having this effect on me, because I was listening to, obviously, music before I could talk, in particular the radio. But when the Beatles happened and the British wave hit the radio, the way it changed the music, I really resonated with. And so, even though I've never been to the UK, there's something about the music and the people that I feel inside, I relate to. So, like, here's another one of those old English folk rock records. I love it. Bread, Love, and Dreams, Amaryllis. Love that cover, too. Danny Thompson on bass all over this. I recommend these records, too. And then I posted this yesterday. I posted a couple. When I posted this, David Sylvian, The Ink in the Well. This came to mind right away. The first thing you hear on here is the bass with other instruments, but the bass stands out. It really makes this song, it elevates. He's all over this album. Brilliant Trees. I didn't pull all of my Danny Thompson records, but everything that, when I can hear his tone, and it's all the way going back to that Donovan record, that same tone on bass is on here. Excuse me. He played on some amazing records like this one. Nick Drake, 5 Leaves Left. What can be said about Nick Drake and his hauntingly beautiful songs and his voice. Danny Thompson played on some of the best. He played on a lot of records that I don't have, and many of those records I would have. I just don't have them yet. I have 3 more that I pulled because I stopped. I was looking on Discogs to see, what do I have with Danny Thompson? And after a while, I was like, okay, I gotta pull all those records. Here's another one where he's not used, but he plays to great effect with Baby Graham on this album Hat, which was that silly cover. But if you know the history of acoustic guitar, you know that Davy Graham was an innovator, truly an innovator, and a black man, light-skinned black man. This is one of those things about race that is always in my face, being a more dark-skinned, but not totally black man. How even within my own race, lighter skin tone is favored, and how black people with light skin tone have been able to cross the rubric because of racism. thank goodness they have, because they've helped to innovate things throughout history. But it still also illustrates the ridiculousness of racism. Oh, the ridiculousness of it. The majority white race having this disdain for dark people, and yet wanting all of our culture, and on top of that, wanting to get darker themselves with tans and stuff. It's always been very, very bizarre, and it's why I'm so affected by the current administration that we're living under. The total hypocrisy and evil nature of all of their actions, which are very racist and sexist and wrong. Okay, two more records that Danny Thompson played on, and this one I have to play because it's been a long time, but the Incredible String Band, the 5,000 Spirits of the Layers of the Onion. Again, I love bright, colorful album covers like this. It's a reissue. When I first heard the Incredible String Band through one of my best friends in high school, Tim, he bought the album I loved the cover, but I could not get into it as a teen at the time. And he would play it, and he would get all into it, and he was my friend who came out as gay when we were kids, and I had no idea. So as close as we were, that's, to me, the purity of the relationship. I ain't thinking about that. So even when he would act out the Incredible String Band, when he would play it for me, because he was like trying to get me to get into it, I didn't even notice the effeminate nature of his behavior then. That comes up. These things come up when I talk about music. He's been gone for years. Rest in peace, Tim. But the last thing I'll show, and it's the first thing I showed on Facebook yesterday in the groups regarding Danny Thompson's death. Pentangle, Cruel Sister. Yeah, I love this music. And these tragic stories. You know what I mean? It's all sing-songy, and then you listen to the words, and it's like almost nothing but tragedy and weirdness. But that's real life. That's what we're really like. So, anything else? Nope. So I'm hoping that today is a good day. On Facebook, a friend posted a message to me showing where, let me look at it, RAF played on the 25th of September. Let me go and try to open up the browser and see if that, but surely that wasn't the last time we played with Kelly, was it? If so, that's rather interesting. I do think I remember at the time of the show remarking to myself that, yeah, we're, it was with Agent Orange. It was in September 25th, 2022. Man, where does the time go? But Jen posted some pictures that she had taken of at the show. And Perry Giordano, even though we're not really friends, we played with Agent Orange a couple times, to the point that the last time they came in town, it was like, again, hooking up with old friends. And Perry and I went out to dinner and shit, and we've been in touch since then. Music is the healer. Someone just posted that. And music is the healer. So even though I can't go into the studio today, I will indeed immerse myself in music one way or the other today. You other music makers that watch me, I applaud you, and thumbs up to you folks also working on music. I see that Sean has let me know a couple times he's working on tracks. and that's good. Thank you, William Welsh, for the yes, I love you too. He says, you hang in there. We are all going through the same things. And so I appreciate we got to hang together. Someone told me about the Jimmy Kimmel monologue, and that's good. I was hoping that he would not tone it down, and it sounds like he did not. Yes, I know about Planet Moo Records and Ital Tech. Absolutely. Might even have Ital Tech in my files. There's just so much. Someone asked me to point them to the documentaries, and my response, I hope they didn't take it wrong, was I found those documentaries so easy. You look again. Almost like I almost felt like a dad talking to a kid. Come on, try harder. I found it. You find it. Don't be lazy. That was my response. You really want to know? You can find it. I found it like that. And folks are constantly coming over saying that they're glad that they just discovered me. Glad they did. Heard from someone who just saw Stephen Wilson in concert. Cool, cool. And hey, there's my sister Stephanie. What's up, Stephanie? Yeah, Stephanie. I'm gonna give James a call. I hope he's okay. I haven't talked to him in months. You know, no news is good news when it comes to a lot of people. But I'm gonna give him a call. Hope he's okay. That's what I have, folks. Only last thing I'll say is this: tomorrow is the release of the deluxe 50th anniversary Genesis Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I do plan to get it, even though it's really it's it's extravagant, and fully I'm ready for it to be on the high end of the price I've already been looking at because I love Genesis and I love that album, and I see the price range of what it's selling for, and I expect that more than likely here in Omaha it's going to be on the higher end of the price range, but I plan to get it. I do think it's kind of shitty, this is my opinion, that they give you the extra tracks, demos, never before released as a download. It would have been so much more special if they'd made it a 7-inch or something. Why didn't they do that? That seems like a no-brainer to me. Make it, make it super special. Give us a physical representation. Anyway, that's on my plate for tomorrow, hopefully, as well as getting together with Otis and Aaron to finalize the artwork so I can put together the Clock is Ticking EP CD. Okay? Always good to hear from you folks, always. Just share with me your thoughts and take care.